All right, let's get right to it. This isn't your average security briefing. This is a critical warning about a new kind of insider threat, one that doesn't look like a threat at all. It looks like a productivity tool, and there's a good chance it's already inside your network. Today, we are going to pull back the curtain on this tool, OpenClaw, and give you the playbook to defend your organization.
So just imagine this pitch for a second. What if you could give your team a personal AI assistant that's totally private, incredibly powerful, and completely free? And you could run the whole thing on the old hardware you've got sitting in a storage closet. It's a seriously tempting promise, right? And it's exactly what your employees are hearing. But as we're about to see, that promise has a hidden cost, and it is steep.
To really get why this is spreading so fast, we need to look at a story out of China that went absolutely viral. And it went viral for a very good reason. It's the perfect showcase for the bait being used to get this software inside company walls.
So check this out. There's a school, probably underfunded, with a bunch of old Macs just lying around. They use the software called EXO to link them all together, creating their own private AI powerhouse. Then they feed it everything. We're talking curriculum, class schedules, student reports, you name it. And just like that, every single student and every single teacher gets a personal AI assistant that knows the school inside and out. The best part? The cost was next to nothing. This isn't some futuristic dream. This is the new face of shadow IT. And this is not some obscure little project. The AI agent at the center of that story, OpenClaw, has over 250,000 stars on GitHub. That makes it one of the fastest growing open source projects ever. This is a global movement, and it's being supercharged by massive adoption in China, where giants like Tencent are literally setting up booths on the street to help people install it for free. Okay, but here is where that fantastic story takes a very, very dark turn. Everything we've just talked about, the free AI, the private servers, the incredible convenience, that's all just the beautiful wooden exterior of a Trojan horse. It is the bait, and it has been perfectly designed to trick your employees into willingly dragging this threat right past your firewalls. Let's be crystal clear here. From a security standpoint, OpenClaw isn't a helpful assistant. It's a textbook remote access Trojan, a rat. It might look and feel like a productivity game changer, but its real function is to give an attacker total unfettered control. You see, for OpenClaw to work at all, it demands something called root access. Now, think of that as the absolute master key to a computer. When one of your users grants root access, they aren't just letting the AI help them write an email. No, they are handing over the keys to the entire kingdom. With root, the agent can read, write, or delete any file. It can watch every keystroke. It can install whatever it wants. It's the digital equivalent of giving a complete stranger the master key to your office, your home, and your safe.
So what happens in that instant an employee says yes and hands over that master key? What is actually being exposed? Well, let's look at the crown jewels that OpenClaw just leaves sitting out in the open for anyone to grab. Now, this is where things go from bad to catastrophic. OpenClaw stores its most valuable data as simple, unencrypted text files. Plain text. We're talking API tokens, your keys to cloud services, and private keys that secure your communications. And then it gets even weirder. There are these two files, soul.md, which is literally a detailed profile of the user's personality, and memory.md, which is just a running log of everything, and I mean everything, the user does. An attacker doesn't need to be a sophisticated hacker. They just need to know how to copy and paste. And you have to understand, this isn't some sloppy coding mistake. This is not a bug. This insane level of data collection is the whole point. It is a feature. And that feature is total surveillance. The goal here is to create a perfect digital twin of your employee, to capture their behaviors, their workflow, even their personality. So what's the real prize? Why would this Trojan horse be so fixated on collecting all this information? Well, the answer is that it's after a whole new type of data, something way more valuable than just a simple chat history. Think about it this way. A standard AI like ChatGPT knows what you say, but an agent AI like OpenClaw knows what you do. It sees your entire workflow, how you solve a problem, the tools you use, the errors you make along the way, your whole decision-making process. They call this trajectory data, and believe me, it is the goldmine that these platforms are really after. It's the key to building the next generation of AI that doesn't just understand what we say, but can actually replicate how we think and act. And if the surveillance wasn't bad enough, there's also the very real risk of it just messing up, catastrophically.
A recent study tested these agents with vague commands, and the results were terrifying. The safety rate was 0%. When it gets a command it doesn't fully understand, it never asks for clarification. 100% of the time, it just guesses and takes a destructive action. Imagine an employee telling it to clean up my desktop, and the AI interprets that as delete everything on my desktop. That has already happened. And when it has root access, the potential damage is just unthinkable. So how does an attacker actually get in and swipe all those plain text credentials? You'd be disappointed by how easy it is. OpenClaw has its own app store called Claw Hub, where users can download new skills for their AI. The problem? There's basically no security review. None, which makes it an absolute playground for malware. Let me just walk you through this ridiculously simple attack. Step 1. An attacker uploads a malicious plugin to Claw Hub, calls it something useful, like PDF Organizer. Step 2. Your employee, trying to be more efficient, installs it. Step 3. The plugin immediately runs, deploying info-stealing malware right onto the machine. And step 4, that malware goes directly to those plain text credential files we just talked about and sends them home to the attacker. That's it. 4 steps. Game over. Okay, now that we all understand the sheer scale of this threat, it's time to shift gears and talk about defense. This is not a theoretical problem for tomorrow. It's an active threat today. So let's run through the immediate, actionable steps you need to take right now to harden your network.
All right, here's your checklist. Number 1, update your acceptable use policy today. Explicitly ban any unauthorized AI agent software on company devices. That's your first line of defense. 2, educate your team. Send out a threat brief, use the Trojan Horse analogy, and make it clear why these free tools are so dangerous. 3, implement application whitelisting. If it's not on your pre-approved list, it doesn't get installed, period. This shuts down shadow IT. 4, and this is crucial, start scanning your network for unauthorized OpenClaw servers right now. You have to know if it's already inside. And 5, monitor your egress traffic. Keep an eye out for any strange data flows leaving your network that could be that trajectory data being siphoned off.
Look, these steps are all about securing the front door going forward. But the real question, the one you should be asking your team as soon as this is over, is this. What about the Trojan horse that might already be inside our walls? Because the greatest danger is never the one you're preparing for. It's the one you didn't even know was there.